Hello everybody and welcome. Thank you so much for watching the video today. Today we are talking about everything vitamin D. If there's any questions afterwards, please leave them in the comments. But I think let's start with kind of the obvious. Why is vitamin D essential, for us? Why is it necessary for us to have vitamin D? And why is it something that everybody is talking about? Okay, so point one, vitamin D is, important for bone health. So vitamin D helps us to absorb calcium, and for that reason, it's crucial for maintaining strong bones and teeth specifically. So without vitamin D, we can get brittle, thin, and misshapen bones. And yeah, I think that's the biggest reason. And especially in women, there's a high risk for osteoporosis as we get older. So vitamin D is really essential to help us to prevent that. Secondly, immune system support. So vitamin D plays a crucial role in enhancing the pathogen-fighting effects of white blood cells and is important for our immune defense. So basically, it helps to also decrease inflammation and it fights flus and colds and bacteria and any type of bad pathogen that there may be. Thirdly, muscle function. So vitamin D is necessary for muscle function, and a deficiency can lead us to become tired and feel weak. It's also important for cell growth regulation. So vitamin D helps us to regulate our cells and especially in the growth thereof. And for that reason, it can help us to reduce the risk of certain cancers. Mood and mental health. So there has been studies done showing that there's a correlation between vitamin D and mood disorders, specifically depression. So if you have low vitamin D levels, the risk of depression is a little bit higher. And then also cardiovascular health. So some studies suggest that vitamin D may help in preventing cardiovascular disease and help us to maintain our cardiovascular health. And obviously this is also good as we become older. So how do we increase our vitamin D levels? We understand why it's necessary. We understand why we need it in the body and why it's important for health. But now the next question is, okay, how do I improve or how do I increase my vitamin D levels? Number one, and I think this is the most obvious, is getting sun exposure, spending time in the sun. So basically, your skin produces vitamin D when it is exposed to UVB rays. Now, it's important that you aim for about 10 to 30 minutes in the sun, several times a week. But, and obviously I'm not a dermatologist, but I do know that there is, very, very high risk with sun and skin cancer. So it's important to still wear your sunscreen. There are some articles saying or debating, can I still get my vitamin D if I am wearing sunscreen? And the answer is yes, because generally, no matter how much sunscreen we put on, sunscreen doesn't last the entire day, and we generally don't put it everywhere or enough of it to block UVB rays completely. So still wear your sunscreen, please. You need to also protect yourself from the sun. The sun can be very damaging, but do still get outside. Put on your sunscreen, put on a hat, and spend some time outdoors. It's good for your mood and it's good for vitamin D. Next, obviously diet. As a dietitian, this is where I can really talk about it. So certain foods are high in vitamin D, and some good sources are fatty fish. So things like salmon, trout, mackerel, cod liver oil, fortified foods, so things like milk, orange juices, and cereals. Egg yolks are high in vitamin D, and then also beef liver. And then you can also use supplements. So if you're unable to get enough vitamin D from sun exposure and the foods that you're eating, we can also incorporate vitamin D supplements. It's not necessary for everyone, so it is definitely something that you can reach out to us if you do think that you may have a vitamin D deficiency, so that we can recommend which supplement and also the dosage. Now, talking about vitamin D deficiency, how would you know whether you have a vitamin D deficiency? Now, obviously, you can do blood tests, but blood tests are expensive, so it's not something you just want to go out and test everything for. There are certain signs that you can look out for, so I would say look out for the following. Reach out to us if you are experiencing a few of these, and then we can maybe help to decide whether it's necessary to do the blood test and to find out. Okay, so firstly, bone and back pain. Obviously, vitamin D helps us to, get stronger bones. So if you have a vitamin D deficiency, one of the first signs may be lower back pain specifically, and also, bone pain anywhere else in your body. Frequent infections and illnesses. So because vitamin D plays a role in our immunity and inflammation, if you do get frequent colds or flu or any type of sickness, it can be a sign of vitamin D deficiency. Next one is fatigue and tiredness. So if you feel extremely tired and fatigued and there's no specific reason for it, you may also have a vitamin D deficiency. Depression. As I mentioned earlier, there is a correlation between low vitamin D levels and mood disorders, specifically depression. So if this is something else that you're struggling with, on top of some of the other or common signs, it can be a sign of vitamin D deficiency. Impaired wound healing. This is a big one. And remember that is also difficult because there's a lot of different things that can cause any of these symptoms. And that's also why vitamin D deficiency generally, people don't even know they have a vitamin D deficiency because these signs and symptoms are so common. It can be caused by a lot of different things. But talking about impaired wound healing, so if your wounds take a long time to heal, it can be a sign of vitamin D deficiency, but it can obviously also be a sign of other things like poor blood sugar management. So, look out for these signs and symptoms, and if you're struggling with them, please reach out to us. Obviously, bone loss, it goes together with vitamin D and bone health. Hair loss. So if you struggle with hair loss, specifically for women, it can be a sign of vitamin D deficiency. Muscle pain. Remember that vitamin D is important for muscle strength. So if you have pain and you feel tired, you have muscle fatigue, it can be another sign. And dizziness. So there is some evidence showing that vitamin D deficiency can cause more dizziness. So yes, like I say, I think many of these symptoms can be caused by multiple other things as well. Excuse me. But, if you are struggling with all or, at least most of these symptoms, please reach out to us because whether it's vitamin D and whether it's something else, you aren't living your best life. You aren't feeling completely yourself. And, here at Core Perform, we would love to help find the underlying cause and help you treat that. And if it is vitamin D, then hopefully it's something easy, something like getting morning sun, eating high vitamin D foods, or if it's really necessary, specifically maybe if you live in a country where winters don't get a lot of sunlight and it's really difficult to get your vitamin D in, then we can also add a vitamin D supplement. Okay, so please reach out to me if you have any additional questions. You can leave them in the comments or just reach out to us, personally. Have a fantastic day and thank you for listening. Bye-bye.